Thank you, Mr. Chairman. By the way, I share your passion for mushrooms. I, along with maybe Senator Heinrich, maybe not the psychedelic type, but I pursue morels, chanterelles, oyster shelf mushrooms, hen of the woods, chicken of the woods, the variety of mushrooms that are out in the wild, amazing. Real quick question, has there been any attempt to cultivate them? Because I know they go for about $50 a pound.
We've tried to cultivate every single variety, and the ones you see in the grocery store are the ones we've been successful at, but that doesn't come from a lack of effort. So we have been able to do truffle, for example, but not in a way that we can actually stay in business. But we keep trying, and research will help.
Well, the amazing figure of how many pounds you can do per acre, and when I know what they go for in the marketplace,
we'd
man,
flood
that
the
sounds like
market.
it would be take farming to the next level. Question going to be for Dr. Carter or Dr. Worthington and Mr. Carter. I introduced the Plant Biostimulant Act with Senator, and it's bicameral and bipartisan as well. This bill would build on a USDA report from 2018 to help bring biostimulants to the marketplace. The products have several potential benefits, including increased tolerance of abiotic stress, decreased nutrient runoff, improved quality and yield. It just looks like a host of benefits. Mr. Carter, would you weigh in on how, as a specialty crop producer, they would benefit maybe you and others that are in your particular business?
Absolutely. And thank you for your work on that. Biostimulants, as you said, would have a large impact for specialty crop producers. I can think of one example. We grow a lot of sweet corn. It's a huge consumer of nitrogen. And the availability of nitrogen in the soil doesn't always translate to the amount that can be taken up because of the biome that's going on in the soil and some of the chemistry taking place there, which I'll let Dr. Worthington explain more because she probably is more qualified. But I know Mud Creek Farm is so named because we are bordered by Mud Creek, which is an important watershed in our community. So nitrogen runoff is something that we have to take very seriously. Similarly, specialty crop producers of tomatoes are continually seeing more and more impact of something called a blossom end rot, which has to do with calcium uptake. Increasing the soil biome is key. We handle that on our farm by we shovel a lot of stimulant out of the chicken barn, and that has increased the soil biome quite a bit. But I support the work for biostimulants as well.
Thank you, Dr. Worthington. About a minute. Weigh in on the scientific side.
Well, I don't work on plant biostimulants directly, but my understanding is they could be anything from microbial agents like mycorrhiza or bacteria, algal extracts, organic acids, amino acids, or purified molecules like chitin. And it's really important to regulate them and have a clear definition to be able to make sensible regulations. I know a lot of countries around the world have come up with clear definitions and have had new regulations passed that have enabled more research and development and commercialization of these products, making sure that they are effective and helpful for consumers.
Thank you. Mr. Carter, you've been at the leading edge of specialty crops and being an entrepreneur out of the gate. I think that's always an interesting combination. When you're so passionate about something, you parlay it into something where you can grow a business. You've been at it. You've talked to other farmers. What are the 3 or 4 issues? Because when we look at sustainability in agriculture and we talk about what you can do with mushrooms on 1 acre, it's many times less resource intensive, a lot more income per acre. What are the 3 or 4 issues you hear most that keep this niche from becoming larger and more impactful?
Thank you. One of the first ones that comes to mind has been regulatory hurdles for small producers to find market access. That's one thing I mentioned earlier in the work that we did in Indiana. And one of the things I'm engaged in quite a bit in Indiana, it happens to be interfacing between local health departments. The people that are responsible at the ground level of enforcing regulation often don't have the training, understanding, legal mindset that went into writing it. And so they overreach and they create more burden than even is in the code itself. Second is access to processing. So we lack a lot of value-added processing in Indiana on the meat side as well as on the produce side, which could create more market access. When we think about funding, we think about incentives, we should look at bringing processing back into some of the local communities.
Thank you.